Hi, I'm Lisa Cannon and it's your Oscar special right here on Spotlight. I speak exclusively to A-lister Jared Leto and her Oscar is only 5 days old. Yes, I speak to Oscar winner Jenny Bevan about her win for Cruella last Sunday night in Los Angeles as Best Costume Design. Spotlight in association with Space 2. Welcome back to season 3 of Spotlight with me, Lisa Cannon, here in the iconic cinematic landmark, the Stella Cinema, Rathmines in Dublin. Well, Oscar winner Jared Leto talks exclusively to me about the Oscars and his new terrifying Marvel movie, Morbius.
Your head has to be in the game, your body has to be ready, mentally, physically, spiritually. You know, you want to show up on set ready to go to war.
We have Sunday's Oscar winner for Best Costume Design, Jenny Bevan. She chats exclusively to me from the set of the new Mad Max movie in Australia, all about that incredible win for Cruella.
It was massive, and I had some of the most talented people you've ever met working on it.
And we hear from Oscar guru himself, RTE's Stephen Byrne, about the wins and Will Smith and Chris Rock wobbles controversy from Sunday night's 94th Academy Awards. It's your Spotlight Oscar special. He's an Oscar guru, having walked that famous red carpet in Hollywood many times, sharing hugs with the golden statue with, of course, A-listers alike. But he is here today at the Stella Cinema to talk about wins and wobbles, namely the controversial Will Smith and Chris Rock slap at Sunday night's Academy Awards. It's RTE's Stephen Byrne.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
Well, the Oscars this year is met with complete discombobulation. Stephen, you're so welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you very much for having me. Where do we start?
We got to start with Will Smith. I mean, really and truly, the Oscars has got his name all over it for all the wrong reasons. Yeah.
It's a funny one because up until the Oscar ceremony itself, I was saying to a lot of people in my life, I feel like, obviously, the last few years, it's been lacking in many ways. A lot of people have turned off. We've seen that in the ratings figures, but then all of a sudden, something happens to bring it to the point where everybody tuned in just to see what was possibly one of the worst parts of the Oscars ever.
In the history.
In the history. Yeah. So obviously we're talking about Will Smith, who didn't take kindly to a joke that was made on stage by Chris Rock. Initially, as we saw, he was laughing along, but I think then he really understood what the joke was insinuating, which was that Jada Pinkett Smith was auditioning for the role of G.I. Jane 2.
It's not funny anyway.
It's not funny anyway, and it is maybe a joke that 10 years ago people wouldn't have blinked at, but now we're a lot more conscious about those sort of things. And also, I didn't know at the time she has alopecia.
And it's a medical condition.
It's a 100%.
The attack unfortunately ensued a kind of a chronic behaviour in Will Smith. He went up and of course we all know that he slapped Chris Rock. So obviously coming off the back of that, celebrities not happy about it, the Academy not happy about it, also going to look at revoking the Oscar. But Will Smith has come out with a statement now.
He has, and very much has kind of said that he's a work in progress. He apologised to Chris for what he did. He said that, you know, love should not be met with violence, which is what he feels like happened there. And also he acknowledged the fact that by doing that, he took so much of the attention away from what that moment was actually about, which was Venus and Serena Williams, who were in the crowd and were waiting for that moment. That was inevitable that Will was always going to win that Oscar, but it took so much attention away from that side. So I felt so bad for them. And even then in his speech, when he sort of compared the idea of everything to people's opinion of Richard himself, it just didn't feel like something that their father would condone.
I just can't believe he did it. I mean,
it was one of those things where you thought it was a bit. You were like, is this?
A prank?
But the sound of the whack, all that sort of stuff, it just was like, no, this isn't. And you could see in his face right after. But that sort of, I don't know.
Well, the abuse and the violence coupled with bad language nobody's going to take kindly to that.
No, and when something like that happens, you've really got to think that maybe some other things are going on in that person's life that has led them to that direction, and we don't know that.
Well, he did say he was a work in progress, but look, he won the Oscar, so let's focus, of course, on the Oscars, and the whole night was about film as well. So winning Best Actor, as much as his speech kind of he had to backtrack an awful lot.
It was just surreal that he was picking it up. That was the thing, that they just let it happen, because you would have thought that he would have been removed and maybe they would have done something and maybe Jada would have gone up. But it was just so strange and surreal.
Personally, to end on this note, I think he should have maybe said something in his Oscar speech to kind of say, let's be kind to each other. And, you know, he could have kind of, I don't know, got his little bit of sweet revenge that way and maybe made it publicly known that he wasn't happy about it. That could have been a one way to do it. But look, nonetheless, the night continued. We had Best Picture as Coda, which actually, again, was another huge surprise.
A huge surprise and a massive win for Apple as well, because, you know, that's the first movie for them that's done that well. And we've seen a number of streaming films over the last 12 months make it into that list too and pick up some of the big awards. What a beautiful movie. Like, I really, really loved it. A lot of people didn't think it was going to be that. They thought The Power of the Dog was going to win it. And I'm delighted it did, because it was based on a French movie from a couple of years ago, which wasn't that great. And now it's been brought to this much more... It just felt like a bit of a cultural moment, especially getting Troy Kotsur, who won Best Supporting Actor, and having a deaf person win that was amazing. His speeches, his whole press run has been gorgeous, and you can just tell how much that means to that community as well. In such
I was really pleased, and I
major
loved,
way.
of course, everybody joining in the
Yeah, it was just beautiful,
sweet,
absolutely beautiful.
And of course, we've Jessica Chastain, her first Oscar, which is surprising. She's an incredible actress.
I love her as well. She's just
Tell
so
us about
funny.
this.
If you've never watched her on Instagram, follow her Instagram.
Oh, really?
She has someone who follows her around all the time to like think of ideas and stuff, but she's just so good at the Instagram game. But also, as you said, just an incredible actress too. And with this, obviously taking on that role, Tammy Faye, it's an iconic role in many ways, but also just not an impersonation, an incredible performance to bring that character to life again. And she obviously made her speech, had her few words about kind of what's happening over in America at the moment with the Don't Say Gay bill as well. So it was a real powerful moment when she did get up there, and I think it's long overdue as well for her. She's had some brilliant roles.
There was a lot of big names in that room, and of course with our very own Jessie Buckley, I was sad she didn't pick up the Oscar Best Supporting Actress.
I was, but she is someone who I look at and I go, it's inevitable. She's going to win an Oscar at some stage in her life. Her rise to fame and her choices as well in her roles over the last number of years, she's just a surefire for it.
She's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I interviewed her for Wild Rose.
Is she amazing?
I think she's amazing. I want her to win. But of course, West Side Story picked up the gong.
Yes, Ariana DeBose, who's absolutely amazing, and a real big moment as well for her. Just kind of, her speech was absolutely gorgeous, just saying that, you know, the representation that she really puts out there within herself, being a queer woman of colour and all that, winning for West Side Story, which was brilliant. I was skeptical when Spielberg said he was going to do it, but I loved that movie so much.
Let's talk about the hosts, I have to say.
You
as
didn't
much
like
as
them.
I'm an
You
Amy
definitely
Schumer
didn't
fan,
like-
I wasn't a fan. I thought some of the jokes were way off base.
Yeah.
But anyway, what did you think?
I think with the Oscars, you really need to play it safe and not go in that sort of zany direction that they have. And when we've seen people do that in the past, like James Franco and Anne Hathaway when they did it, it just didn't really work. Yeah, we've tried to forget about that. That was the worst. I think the whole Billy Crystal model is the way to go with it. I think Kimmel was pretty good in the past, but no, I wasn't the biggest fan of the three of them on stage.
But you know what? It brought back the glamour that we needed for the last 2 years. I mean, some of the dresses were incredible. A quick hotspot for you. Who did you like on the red
My
carpet?
two favourites would be, maybe just because I got a good gawk at her because she was sitting behind Will Smith, Lupita Nyong'o, in that gold dress.
Beautiful.
I just absolutely loved it, and she is fantastic in every way. But her face when the Will Smith was just brilliant. She was just like...
And I know who you're going to say for
Timothy
them.
Chalamet, all across the board. Less
No
is better.
shirt.
Less is better. That's what we're going to say. And he's always had some brave choices. The last time he showed up at the Oscars, he was wearing pretty much a tracksuit, but I think it was probably like Givenchy or Prada or something along those lines.
Well, I thought the glamour was good. I mean, it was nice to see her back again. Some really big dresses, big numbers. But ultimately, the Oscars, and we're going to finish on this, do you think there's a relevance of it moving forward now?
The funny thing is, I say yes this week because of everything that's happened, but it happened for the wrong reasons, obviously, with what Will Smith did. So in that way, is it still as relevant? Are people talking about the awards? They're not. People aren't
They're
this
only
week
talking about
They're
that
talking about the
incident.
drama, the incident, and it brings me back to what happened with Moonlight and La La Land all those years ago. It wasn't an admirable moment in the Oscars history, but it was TV ratings gold because, you know, they got the big numbers for it, and everybody to this day makes that joke about, oh, La La La, Moonlight. So, I mean, this is something that's going to be talked about for years to come. I don't know if Will Packer, who was the producer of this year's Oscars and was brought in to rejuvenate it, will be happy, obviously, with it, but I'm sure he'll be happy with the ratings, which was 15 million over in the US, which I think is about 10 million bigger than it was last year.
Well,
so
that's good. And of course, we have an Oscar winner on the show. Jenny Bevan picked up
yes,
for Cruella.
I
Go on,
love
Jenny.
her.
And she's on Spotlight.
She is just so unique in so many ways.
Her
but also
third Oscar.
Her third Oscar. She's fantastic.
I'm glad
she's
she
worked
nabbed
on
it.
some absolutely incredible movies over the years, like some Mad Max. She's just so good at what she does, and I'm so jealous you got to talk to her.
Thank you very much. She's coming up later on the show. Stephen, thank you as always. We're going to see you on the red carpet, I know, next year.
Oh, fingers crossed.
And we'll do a Zoom with you the next time. But thank you so much for all of that. And we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
He's one of Hollywood's most respected actors. What with The House of Gucci, Suicide Squad, Requiem for a Dream, and his 2014 Oscar win as Best Supporting Actor in Dallas Buyers Club. Yes, it's Jared Leto. I chatted exclusively to Jared from London about his love of Ireland, will he take that Conor McGregor role, and his latest Marvel movie, Morbius.
Michael, what have you done?
I was trying to help people. But the cure.
It's a curse.
Michael. Jared! Oh my
Yes.
goodness, I'm so delighted to have you on the show. Oh,
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
lovely to see you. Now, I want to start with your flamboyant red carpet style for Morbius. Wow. I mean, even to last night on London's red carpet, that vampy purple suit, Cuban heels, right through to the mint green satin suits and lace shirts in Madrid, and, you know, the mesh shirts, the 70s shaggy coat in Paris. You are the epitome of class and style, I have to say, my friend.
Sorry to disappoint you this morning with my crew jacket here, my bomber.
You are a rock star vampire. We're calling you the kind of fanged fashionista. How about that?
I'll take it. I love it.
Morbius is the ultimate role because you get to play 3 separate characters. It's a real transformational, immersive, and I would imagine extremely physical role. Did it take a lot out of you, Jared?
It did, but in a good way. You know, every day I was just shattered, but happy about it. You know, I'd never been a part of a film like this before. I haven't starred in a big, giant Marvel movie, obviously, but this was a first for me on many levels, and I was excited that it's also the first for Morbius. It's the first time Morbius has told his story on screen or had a story told about this character, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Indeed, and I know you love vampire movies when you're growing up with your brother in Louisiana, but I mean, speaking of transformational roles, I have to touch on it. We all saw your tweet with Conor McGregor.
Oh,
there
yeah.
couldn't be more transformational role than that.
No, I think whoever, that's probably one of the great roles to play on film.
What about nailing the Irish accent? That's a hard one.
I'm not worried about it. I'll tell you what, if I did the Irish accent, you would give me a passport, because I would do such a good job for the Irish people. I would go there and live there and work there and breathe there and eat your great food and be around those amazing people. I would definitely make you proud. I'll tell you this, my very first film, I played a young Irish kid. It was called Last of the High Kings, based on this novel, famous novel, an Irish novel, and that was the first movie I ever made.
You must have loved living here, because it really is a special place.
It's the best. I mean, I had a great time, and that was 1995 or something, and I was in Dublin all by myself for 2 or 3 months, and it was phenomenal.
We all have monsters within us. It's up to us to control it.
What if I can't?
Now, Morbius has a message because he's constantly searching and devising and craving, of course, a better health. To me, the message also was kind of akin to fame. You know, it's like a poison chalice. Once you get it, you don't always love it. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's a great way to put it. It's a beautiful way to put it, and I'm going to use that as my answer.
You're great. I love it. I heard you say the preparation is the key to getting the character right. I know you love climbing,
Yeah.
Jared. Did you literally climb the walls, taking Morbius home with you every night?
Well, it's a lot like fighting as well in the UFC. Our preparation is key. Training is everything, and you have to have your head has to be in the game, your body has to be ready, mentally, physically, spiritually. You want to show up on set ready to go to war. And I definitely take that approach. Like creatively, I'm there to push myself beyond the limit, to do what I can in order to break new ground. And it's important every day to take great risk. So that certainly was the case in this movie. And I was really excited because there's a transformation that happens with this character. And it was, it was a challenge, but also exciting thing to be part of.
Do you feel as an actor that you don't want to let audiences down? Because, Marvel movies, there's no room for error there.
No, they will banish you to the stars. I hope that people have fun with it. We did the best that we could, and this is an origin story. It tells the beginning of this character. It kind of walks on the darker side of the Marvel universe. It's a bit scary. It toys with some horror elements as well. So I think that makes it really different.
Back to Ireland again. We hope to see you in a Conor McGregor film, and I know you'll nail the accent. But where would you go with your Morbius superpowers in Ireland, considering you know us so well?
Oh my God. The sky's the limit. What a gorgeous place. And when I was a kid, I was when I did that movie, I was playing a kid from Hoth. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Hoth. Well done.
Yeah.
Yep.
We would film out there a little bit, but I stayed in Dublin. I really love Dublin. I think it's one of the best cities in the world.
We'll have you on the Sugarloaf. You can climb that, no problem.
Yeah, and the Irish people just so passionate. Energy is incredible, and I've had a love affair with that country for a long time.
Oh, well, Jared, listen, bring all your fanged fashionista over to us here in Dublin. We love you so much. Thanks so much, Jared. You're great.
Thank you.
Just accept who you are.
The bad guy.
She's been Oscar nominated 11 times and just brought home her third Oscar for Best Costume Design for Cruella at Sunday night's 94th Academy Awards. Yes, Jenny Bevan is one of the most decorated costume designers in the world and kindly took time off the set of her latest Mad Max sequel in Australia, only a mere 4 days after her Oscar win in LA, to chat to me exclusively about her latest golden statuette and how it's been a whirlwind of excitement the last few days.
But a new day brings new opportunities, and I was ready to make a statement. I am woman, hear me roar.
Jenny, good morning over there in Australia. You are on the set of the new Mad Max movie with Chris Hemsworth, no less. But firstly, I want to say a massive, massive congratulations on your Oscar win for Best Costume for Cruella. How are you feeling?
Any kind of win for Cruella is a real win for my crew. And without that crew, I would not have been able to do it. It was massive, and I had some of the most talented people you've ever met working on it. So any win for Cruella is a win for the crew.
Now, Jenny, we know you managed to just steal away 72 hours from your busy schedule from that Mad Max set there in Oz and fly all the way to LA for the 94th Academy Awards. But what's it like attending the biggest ceremony in the film calendar to date? I mean, I know you're a dab-handed it and you've done it a whopping 12 times.
To be honest, it's nerve-wracking because you really do want to win for the team, but it's of course an extraordinary experience. I have done it before, so I can, it's weird. You spend a lot of time on the red carpet, talking to people, quite exciting actually. Steven Spielberg, who I didn't know, introduced me to Mark Rylance, who I didn't know, and that was really exciting because I admire both of them hugely. But sitting in the auditorium, is basically nerve-wracking. And I mean, there's some wonderful moments when you see clips from stuff you haven't seen, or, you know, and meet people, and that's great. But a lot of it is just sitting there actually getting really nervous, and nervous that you won't win, and nervous that you're going to have to make a speech if you do win.
Well, Jenny, you looked rocking at this year's Oscars with your homage to Cruella. Of course, it's a brilliantly inspired piece of costume, I have to add. And I loved also that in 2016, you did not give a hooty toot what Hollywood thought when you wore a Marks and Spencer's leather biker jacket, a scarf, and bobber boots to collect your Academy Award. Not a care in the world, Jenny.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, basically, I'm the wrong shape to wear a gown. I would look ridiculous in one, and I don't have the feet to wear heels. So let's put that out the window. And for Mad Max, I did exactly that. And I remember telling my sister, she said, "Oh, Jen, what you going to wear?" And I said, "Oh, I thought I'd do a bit of a bikery look, you know." She said, "Oh, that would be fun," she said. And we moved straight on to talk about something else. Biggest understatement of the year. But I don't think people think, I mean, I got quite a lot of apology emails from various people who apparently didn't clap and things. I mean, whatever.
And whatever is right. Jenny is one of the most celebrated and loved costume designers in the world. However, it is apparent even to her when she is up close and personal with the A-list actresses on the red carpet that there's an immense pressure for them to get their dresses and outfits right on the night.
It's so much about body image, which of course for me is a joke because my body image is small and fat. I do think there's probably a lot of pressure, and some of them just look gorgeous, but they look gorgeous in a bin bag, and others sort of slightly overdo it, and sometimes that's fun, but they all kind of look the same to me.
So, Jenny, let's talk about Cruella. How did you get Emma Stone ready for the villainous role of Cruella de Vil?
Well, it always starts the same way. You start from the script and you make lists of each character and what they need and any logistics that happen to them, like they get rained on or fall in a river or ride a horse or whatever. So you end up with a good list. It was very clear in the Cruella script that there was an arc, that she had a journey to go on with clothes. I mean, that's really the story, is a face-off of two fashion designers, and her journey is finding herself out and how she becomes that fashion designer and what influences her. So that is clear. And then, of course, you have to find the looks. Now, I lived through the 70s. I remember it well. I remember going to Portobello and buying a military jacket. I remember, I'd just started work. I was doing opera and ballet and at Covent Garden, and just sort of had a little bit of money. So I did buy myself a few clothes. I wasn't that interested in clothes, but I did definitely buy bits from Bieber and Crocodile and probably Marks and Spencer. I think they did a wonderful big grey sweater, and we all wore them like beatniks, absolutely the most oversized thing you could get, and it came down to your knees. I mean, it was just genius. Shetland wool, charcoal. I wore one to school and of course got told off, but they said you could wear a grey sweater, so I wore a grey sweater. Just happened to be more like a dress. So that side of it then came back to me, plus of course I looked at all the fashion magazines and newspapers of the period, anything I could find, and you sort of put it together, and it comes, if you know what I mean. Normally when you're on Sainsbury's, it'll be like, oh, that might work, or I do find, actually, I went to Portobello every Friday, I think, when we were doing Cruella, and again, I just got inspiration looking at vintage stuff in the shops and on the market stalls. So,
do you look at people on the street or in the underground? I mean, you obviously live in London. I know you're based now in Australia for this movie, but do you kind of people perv, as it were, and not being a pervert in any way, Jenny, just a fashion pervert? Do you look at people and kind of think, ooh, that could be great as X, or that would look amazing on Tom Hardy, or Charlize Theron would look awesome in those, jackets? I mean, there must be a bit of that. It's tick, tick, tick all the time, surely.
I think I collect people, definitely. I sometimes photograph them rather illegally, but I don't think of them in terms of that would be great on Tom or that would be great on Charlize. I think it's more, I just think they're really interesting. And often I look at someone and think, gosh, if I put someone in a film in that, no one would believe me. But people are so interesting in what they wear and put together. And absolutely, I collect people.
Now, you know, in terms of the character, because I'm obsessed with the film and I watched it just like everybody else with my mouth agog, and how you could imaginatively come up with such creative pieces. But of course, you know, you're talking about the whole world of Cruella is based around fashion. You know, you have this kind of Miranda Priestley character, played by, of course, Emma Thompson, and then you have Cruella, who morphs over the arc of the film. So, I mean, am I right in thinking there was, what, 47 costumes or something? I mean, punk inspired as well, rock music inspired. So you must have drawn on, you know, young Vivienne Westwood, Galliano, you know, Sid and Nancy from the 70s, Sex Pistols. What was in there? What was in the cauldron?
Nina Hagen as a starting point, and people like definitely Vivienne Westwood. I looked at, I mean, Dior Balenciaga. For Emma Thompson more, and actually anyone of that sort of ilk and vogue, really. She was, you know, she just came from somewhere there. And then once we started on her style developed. Emma Stone, Cruella, obviously, she has a real journey from, you know, the schoolgirl with the graffitied blazer through to living in the squat with the boys, to becoming something with the Baroness and pulling herself together. And you see her go to that artist when she still was indeed in Portobello Road, and we shot it there. So it's just that sort of thing of collecting and putting it together to make that story of her progression work. And obviously working for the Baroness, she's going to learn some skills, and she's obviously very clever with her needle.
Jenny has also been Oscar nominated for everything from A Room with a View, Anna and the King, Sense and Sensibility, Gosford Park and The King's Speech in 2010, starring Colin Firth. But is it more difficult to get the accuracy exact for period films or films depicting royalty?
Well, obviously by that time there were a lot of photographs, so it's a very, very well documented period. And what we tried to do was give the spirit of it. So Helena Bonham Carter, who is the most wonderful actress and person. But actually, if you put the colours the Queen Mother liked, which are very pastel, she looked like she was wearing costume. But if you just washed it through and took it down a peg, so it was slightly more dreary, that sounds awful, but less colourful, she then just became Queen Mother and you didn't even think about it. So it was very much based on absolute truth, but adjusted to fit the actor playing the part.
Wow. In essence, you know, working with a costume designer, it's a very particular process. I mean, Jenny, you're up close and personal with the actor, you know, you're fitting them, you're pinning them, you're discussing things with them. So do you find that, you know, in some small way you become their therapist because they're in your room for so long?
It can be. You can feel like their mother, their PA, their nanny, their therapist, various things, and it's really rather lovely. And the fitting room can become a confessional, which is a very interesting. So I would never break any, you know, confidence.
No.
It's very intimate, and you're finding another person. The two of you are finding a third person, i.e., the character. So yes, it's very. It's really fun, actually. I love all that. I think fitting is the best bit, when you actually see the character emerge from the clothes.
In the interview, I asked Jenny who would she like to invite to hers for a dinner party from the world of fashion and film. Vivienne Westwood got the nod, as did Emma Thompson and Mr. Tom Hardy.
Oh, well, I definitely have him at my dinner party, that's for sure. Why, Jenny? I need to ask you why Tom Hardy.
I don't know. I absolutely adore Tom. We've done 2 films together, and including Mad Max Fury Road. And he's a very good man. And of course, we wouldn't be drinking. Well, I don't know. I think Tom actually doesn't mind other people drinking, but you know, I'd be careful for him because I'm so fond of him. But I think he's just very, very interesting and wonderful actor. No, I've probably not chosen. You know, if you ask me that tomorrow, I'll probably have a completely different set of 6. But let's go with that for now.
They're wonderful. And I love the fact that she included Tom Hardy. Make sure to tell him that Lisa Cannon says hello.
Coming up on Spotlight next week, I chat exclusively one-on-one to the Oscar-nominated film director Jim Sheridan in Space 2 about his incredible film career and working 3 times with the great Daniel Day-Lewis. I'll be back again here next week at the Stella Cinema, shining a light on all the entertainment that matters. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye. Spotlight in association with Space 2.